night was the last time anyone saw this precious baby, Lisa Irwin. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jane Velez-Mitchell, coming to you live from Los Angeles. We're going to tell you about the Conrad Murray, Michael Jackson death trial in a moment. But first, this very important story, because there is a child out there, this beautiful baby. We need to find her. And what happened to her, it's right out of a horror movie. Baby Lisa's parents say she was stolen right out of her crib after her mother, Deborah Bradley, went to bed last Monday night. And before her father got home from working the night shift as an electrician, the dad, Jeremy Irwin, says when he got back to their home in Kansas City about 4 in the morning, yeah, we're talking the dead of night, but early Tuesday morning, the front door he saw was unlocked. And he also was shocked to see the lights throughout the house were blazing, and there was a window open.
She's everything. She's our little girl. She's completed our family, and she means everything to my boys. And we need her home. I can't be without her.
Now that is an obviously grieving, shocked, hysterical mother who was crying. She hopes her child will be found alive. But then in a shocking twist, just a couple of days into the investigation, Kansas City cops accused Baby Lisa's parents, the missing child's parents, of being uncooperative. So last Friday morning, the parents went on the morning talk shows to defend themselves and tell their side of the story.
When they first questioned me, once I couldn't fill in gaps, it turned into, you did it, and they put the picture down from the table, and they said, look at your baby, and do what's right for her, and just tell everybody where she is so she can come home. And I kept saying, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know.
That mother, Deborah Bradley, also said police told her she had failed a polygraph test. Listen to this.
They said that I failed, and I continued to say that's not possible, because I don't know where she's at. I did not do this.
But over this past weekend, everything changed. Kansas City police said they had resumed talking with Baby Lisa's parents. Check this out.
They live here. It's their child. Who knows more, you know? So talk to them. Something may jog their memory. You never know. They may think of another person, whatever.
While all of that is great news, the most important question still remains, where is Baby Lisa tonight? Local cops and the FBI conducting extensive, frantic searches. Still no sign of 10-month-old Lisa. So what do you think happened in this case? We're going to talk to a woman who knows this family well, but first, correspondent Ed Lavandera live in Kansas City tonight. Ed, what is going on with this investigation?
Well, you know, really what's interesting here and what has overshadowed is that tension between the parents and the investigators here over the last couple of days. As far as we know, that appears to have been smoothed over, at least in terms of being face-to-face and investigators talking to parents. But what we continue to see over the last several days has been rather interesting, Jane. That house that you see behind me, the green one, and it's that window on the right edge of the home. That's where been the focus of investigators. But we've seen them repeatedly coming out here over the last few days. Some investigators bringing out metal detectors, walking through the front lawn, also checking out a little creek area behind the house, spending a lot of time there over the last few days. And then yesterday afternoon, in plain sight of reporters and neighbors, we saw the officers come out here, the investigators come back out to the house and recreate what it would have been like for someone to get in through that window. And what we saw was rather interesting, because you saw these investigators climbing through the window. At one point, the window slammed down on one of them. They needed some help to get through. Obviously, they wanted to check out the plausibility of the storyline, if it was even possible for someone to get in through the house like that. And it was possible, but also very tough.
Well, I'm looking at the window right now, Ed. This is no extraordinary window. And maybe the cop who tried to get through it is not as thin or as young or as agile as the person who broke in. I want to go to Captain Steve Young, Kansas City Police Captain. Thank you for joining us, sir. I know that because you're most interested in finding Baby Lisa far more than getting into a back and forth about the investigation, that you're being relatively tight-lipped. But suffice it to say, are you now saying that this family is cooperating again?
Yes, that's correct. And you're right. You know, we'd really rather not look backward. The important thing is that the parents are involved in the investigation, and I've said it a bunch. Nobody knows more about what goes on and who's been in that home than they do. So their involvement is key to us helping find this child, and that's our #1 priority.
Well, I'm watching an officer try to scale that little brick wall and get in through the window. And, yeah, it's tough to get in through a window. Mark Eiglarz, I don't know if you can see this demonstration, but it's certainly possible. I mean, we have seen so many children tragically kidnapped from their beds. Jessica Lunsford, Elizabeth Smart, the list goes on and on. It happens. Sickos do get in, and they do climb in through windows like that. It's not like there's a moat around this house. It's not like this window is very high up. Of course, yeah, it's easier if somebody gives you a lift, but there's also I see there like a little pipe. It'd been very easy for somebody to step on that pipe and hop in. What do you make of this demonstration that authorities did to see how easy it is to get into this house? What does that tell you, Mark?
Well, they're considering the parents, I'm sure, persons of interest, which statistically they have to do. If you look at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, over the past couple of decades, they've handled approximately 278 missing children cases. Only 13 involved abductions by burglars, as these parents are alleging. So statistically, it's unlikely what they're saying. It doesn't mean it didn't happen, so they have to explore the plausibility. Now, I know that 300-pound overweight folks are usually not signing up to be home burglars. So typically, you have someone who is able to go into a window and remove a baby, and they just want to make sure that it's plausible. I think they're doing a good job so far, especially being tight-lipped on the investigation. That's what they need to do.
Well, they've also, according to the mother herself, given her a polygraph. Now, this is what a family spokesperson had to say about baby Lisa's mother, Deborah, being questioned and given a polygraph test by law enforcement. Check it out.
The police are doing their job, you know. If you don't have any other suspects, the one person that was there that night, you know, the last person to see her, you know, who else do you point your finger at?
All right, very quickly, Captain Stephen Young, will you confirm or deny that the mother was given a polygraph and failed?
Well, she, of course, is free to talk about whatever she would like, but we're not going to open the door to talking about details of the investigation. So, yeah, I'm not going to get into that part of it.
All right, Captain. Now, Kathy Ostrander, you know baby Lisa's father well. You join us by phone. You are related by marriage to baby Lisa's father's relative. What can you tell us about this family? They apparently have no criminal history. Are they good people?
They are good people, and they love their children. They did not do this. I don't care what anybody says. These two people, I was Jeremy Irwin's, his grandfather was married to me until he passed away. And these are good people, good people. We need to pray for these people and pray that this baby is found quick.
A cousin who was acting as a spokesperson for the Irwin family talked about this breakdown that where the police accused the family of being uncooperative and then later backed away from it. Listen to what he had to say about this.
I think it was just a lot of miscommunication, to be honest. They were being interviewed again downtown, and after several hours, Jeb was already gone, and Jeremy said, you know, I had enough for today. And as soon as he left was when 20 minutes later, they announced there was an impromptu press conference. They said, you know, the parents aren't, or the family's not cooperating anymore, and that was that.
So, Kathy Ostrander, again, you know this family. Why do you think the cops, aside from the fact that the mother's the last person to see, but they seem to be so intent on checking to see whether the story is realistic, that whether somebody can get in a window? It's a ground floor window. Of course somebody can get in, Kathy.
Sure. Anybody could get in, and that's a beautiful baby. And, you know, like you said, there's sick people all over the world, and these two people did not do this.
Does this father have any enemies this Jeremy Irwin? He's an electrician working the overnight shift. Did he have any lawsuits, any fights, anything like that, Kathy, that you know of? Nothing.
Not that I know of. No. And
how was their marriage? How is their marriage? Are they in good shape?
You mean Jeremy?
Yeah, Jeremy and Deborah.
They're not married.
Well, I'm sorry. They want to get married. Their relationship as live-in parents of an infant.
Well, from what I gather, quite well. They've got two very happy little boys at home waiting for this baby to come home. And as far as I've heard, they get along beautifully.
Well, imagine the horror of this woman not only having her baby stolen from her, but then she's the subject of suspicion, even though she's not being called a suspect. But this whole idea that they weren't cooperating, they were interviewed for hours, they became exhausted, and they said they wanted a break. But we understand that the cops are doing what they have to do. They have to first eliminate the people who are closest to the child, the people who last saw the child. The mother's the last person to see the child. So she's got to be put through this additional hell of being grilled and polygraphed and questioned 6 ways to Sunday because they want to eliminate her so they can go after other people like sex offenders in the area. I'm going to discuss this later on Nancy Grace, filling in for Nancy, and we're going to get in depth into the search for baby Lisa in just a little while, so stay right there. Now, up next.